I want to do just a quick review on two different concepts right now. The first concept is exponents. Exponents are repeated multiplication of the same number. You also hear it referred to as powers. And an example here is the repeated multiplication of 5. 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So that would be the exponent of 5 to the 4th power. I know that because the number that I am repeating is 5. That's my base number. And how many times it's repeated becomes my power. So this is 5 4 times, so it's 5 to the 4th power. And to solve that, you remember this is multiplication, so you're going to multiply. 5 times 5 is 25. Now I've used those two. I have these to finish out with. So 25 times 5 is 125. I've used those. I still haven't used that last one. 125 times 5 is 625. So 5 to the 4th power equals 625. Sometimes students want to treat this just like a multiplying problem and say 5 times 4 and 5 to the 4th power is 20. But it's not. It is repeated multiplication, so it's 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. It equals 625. I wanted just to remind you of some special names within exponents. If something has a power of 2, 4 to the 2nd power, that also is called 4 squared. Anything to the power of 2 is squared. So this was 4 squared, 4 times 4, and that equals 16. Anything to the 3rd power is cubed. It's like 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional. So 2 to the 3rd power is 2 cubed. 2 times 2 times 2 is not 6. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So that's just the quick review on exponents. So when you see something, if you see 6 to the 2nd power, that means 6 times 6, 36. If you see 8 to the 2nd power, that's 8 times 8, 64. So that's just a real brief review of exponents, which leads me straight into the next concept I want to review, and that is order of operations. In math, it is very, very important the order in which you solve problems. And there is a rule for that, so you always know how to do it the same way. And it's the order of operations rule. And what it tells us, oops, I have misspelled parentheses. Let me look at that right now and correct that. So, if you have something in your math problem with parentheses, you do that first. Then you do exponents, multiply or divide comes next, add or subtract comes last. So the last thing you do in a problem that would have all these would be add or subtract. Now, what I want to point out here is everything is always worked left to right in the categories. So in your math problem, if you have several items in parentheses, you work the parentheses on the left first and move over, just like you were reading in a book left to right. If it has several exponents, you do the exponent on the left and then you do the one moving toward the right. The same thing is very true in multiplication and division. If the problem has multiplying and dividing in it, and I wrote or specifically here because it's either way, if there's multiplying or dividing, you don't multiply first, you do what comes in the problem first, left to right. So I could have as easily said divide or multiply, subtract, or add here. And I'll give an example of that in just a moment. And the same thing is true here. In a problem, you don't necessarily add it first. If it's on the left, working left to right, then you would. If subtraction comes first, left to right, then you would subtract. A lot of students call this PEMDAS. I've never called it PEMDAS. But if you have, go for it. That is the initials of please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And that's what I have always said. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And then I think, oh, P, parentheses first. Excuse, E, exponents first. And that's how I know how to solve my problems. If I have a problem with many of these things in it and I don't do it in this order, I'm going to get an answer, but it will be the wrong answer. So let's look at a couple of examples. And then you can review this again and again if you need to. So, the first thing I do lots of times on my paper is I'll put that up there. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So I'll remember the order. So the first thing I'm going to look for is parentheses. Are there parentheses up here? Yes, there are. In fact, there are 2. So how do I know which one to do? Left to right in the category. So in the parentheses category, I'm going to do the left to right first. Here's the one on the left. So 2 plus 3 is 5. I've used that. And this parentheses is 4 times 3. That's 12. I've used that. Now, I haven't used the 6, the plus sign, the minus, the power, or that plus sign. So what am I going to do next? Am I going to add because it's first? No. I've done all my parentheses. I'm going to look for the exponent. And here's an exponent. 2 to the 3rd power. What does that mean? 6? No. It means 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So this becomes 8. I've used it. I'm not going to use it again. I haven't used that, haven't used that, haven't used that. So what am I going to do now? Is there any multiplying? Nope. Any dividing? Nope. Any adding or subtracting? Yes, there is. Add, subtract, add. What am I going to do first? Well, let me remind you. Left to right in the category. Left to right in the category. So I'm going to solve it like I'm reading it. Left to right. So the first left thing I have is this adding problem. 6 plus 5 is 11. I haven't used that. I haven't used that. I haven't used that. What do I do now? Do I go ahead and finish the adding? Nah. I'm going to do it left to right because this is the add, subtract category. So 11 minus 8 is 3 plus 12. I'm almost through. My answer is 15. Now, if I had done it in any other order, I would still get an answer. And if it's a multiple choice test, that answer is going to be on there, but it will be the wrong answer. This is the correct answer. So let's look at this next one. 14 take away 4 times 2 plus 3. What shall we do first? Oh, I'm going to look up and think, what is in here? Are there any parentheses? No. Are there any exponents? No. Is there any multiplying or dividing? Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do first. Is there more than one? No. So this is what I'm going to do first. I'm going to multiply 4 times 2. And I'm going to get 8. Now once I've used those, I'm not going to use them anymore. I haven't used the 14 or the takeaway sign. I haven't used the plus or the 3. Now, I know I've already gone through all these categories, so I'm now left with adding and subtracting. What shall I do first? Shall I add first or subtract? Well, are you tired of this yet? In the category, left to right. Just like you're reading it, I won't do that again, okay? So, left to right, 14 take away 8 is 6. Haven't used the plus or the 3. 6 plus 3 equals 9. Now, I could have gotten a different answer. This one's easier to see as a different answer. I could have said 14 take away 4 is 10 times 2 plus 3, and I could have said 23. I could have gotten the answer 23. I would have an answer, it would be the wrong one. Okay? Last example. Here we go. Any parentheses? No. Any exponents? No. Any multiplying or dividing? Yes. Here's a dividing and here's a multiplying. How do I know which one to do first? I'm not going to show you, but you're going to remember that it's from left to right within the category. So I'm going to do this one first because it's just like I'm reading it. So 4 divided by 2 is, I know you have that one, 2. I'm not going to use those anymore. 6 times 6 is 36. I think I heard someone say that. And I have used those, but I haven't used the plus sign, so I'll come down here. 2 plus 36, 38. That's my answer. I could have done it in a different order. The answer would be incorrect. So, this was the quick little review I wanted to do because you're going to have several worksheets. And this is foundational for the rest of your math career.